Nick, have you heard?
Probably.
But seriously, I have some really big news.
Please tell me this big news that I probably already know.
Okay, you know of the music licensing site MusicBed, right?
Who doesn't know about MusicBed? They're the best place for wedding videographers to get licensed music. They have amazing artists like Chapters, Tony Anderson, Delight in the Heat, as well as hundreds of other curated artists, bands, and composers. I've been using the MusicBed since I started wedding filmmaking in 2012.
Yeah, their subscription service was a life changer for me, especially since all of their subscription music is pre-cleared for every social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Love Stories TV, and my personal favorite, YouTube, all pre-cleared.
Dude, it's so good. But again, what's this big news that I probably already know about?
They want to sponsor our podcast.
Yeah, I know that. I was a part of the emails.
Can you at least act a little surprised?
Oh, my bad. Hang on. Seriously? They want to pay us to talk about their baller music service? A service that we both have loved and used for years? Sold, I'm in, sign me up.
We know the time suck that is searching for the perfect song for your wedding film. MusicBed has spent years collaborating with artists, bands, and composers to make it easier than ever for anyone to find the right song for their video.
And if you're interested in a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription...
Hold up, a free month?
Yeah, a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription service. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. When you sign up, use the promo code HTFW and you will get your first month for free. Jake is asking if we will do a staring contest real quick.
Yes, okay, I'll do it.
Wait, which camera are we staring into?
Phone.
Like the live camera or...
Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. I'm John Bunn. Today I'm joined, as always, as most of the time, by my good friend Nick Miller. Nick, how in the heck are you today?
Dude, I am so good. We just had a live Q&A on Facebook where we talked all about consultations and pricing and packaging. It was so good. I felt like it was information that people actually wanted to hear about.
It's crazy. Like, we have this podcast. People are listening all over the world, and we're doing things that they actually want. It's probably why every day dozens of new people are joining us. It was such a great episode. We had a good time. We took questions from our Facebook group, our Instagram page, just all about consultations. Like Nick said, it was a ton of fun. I'm like all hyped up from it. So I just say, let's jump right into the conversation. Let's go.
Let's do it.
So, dude, before we get going, you said that you lost your phone holder, so you had to jimmy rig something up.
Yeah, so you can kind of see it. You'll be able to see it on our YouTube video, but I took my mic stand and I had to take off my phone case and I gaff taped the crap out of my phone to my
This is why we do what we do, you know what I mean? Like, so
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
we're
totally
doing our best to just put out good stuff, but I was letting everybody know that's watching, you know, the 7 or 8 of them that are already here. This is the live
Sure.
Q&A. Instead of this week or this month doing just like whatever, we kind of decided to point it in the direction of consultations and bookings and pricing and packages. I just read Charles Newman's comment. He said, "What? No audio delay? What's this sorcery?" I know, it's like Facebook is working.
Yeah, Facebook finally figured out that dozens of people listen to our stuff and they wanted to like make it work. But I'm gonna knock on this fake wood desk that I have to make sure that continues to happen.
I'd also like to say this episode is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Because I love Chick-fil-A. I'm not getting paid by Chick-fil-A, but if you're watching or know somebody at Chick-fil-A, we're giving free ads for Chick-fil-A. So brought to you by Chick-fil-A today. So anyway, yeah.
You know what? I'm not sure I put my phone in do not disturb mode.
Oh no. You're gonna ruin a good thing. Do that real quick.
I know, so I don't know what to do.
Oh, you've already got it. Yeah, try swiping, and if you go away, I'll add you back before we get going.
Okay. Okay.
So to everybody out there, Nick is like pausing, whatever. I can see that. But if you have a question, he's back. If you have a question about consultations, bookings, packages, pricing, what we do, upselling, anything like that, we've got a ton of questions. This really struck a chord with a lot of you guys. And so we just have a lot of questions from our Facebook group. We have a lot of questions from our Instagram. And so, yeah, I mean, this right now we're recording live in our Facebook group, but this will be a podcast that will drop soon. So if you're enjoying live, be sure to comment, let us know, if you have questions or, anything like that, or if you just want to make fun of us as we record. Anything you want to add, Nick?
Yeah, no. I don't. I'm really excited to do this topic. This is something that you have actually taught me a lot about in just kind of meetings and sales and that kind of stuff and structuring packages and all that. And so I'm really eager to just dive in and talk about it. So, and I will say if at any point my phone just decides to like fall off because it's really gaff taped on there, it might do it. So. That'll be like that time whenever John dropped the phone on our live podcast.
That was the funniest thing. Okay, so before we get going, I just want to, one more time for everybody that's watching, this is our live Q&A for the month. We're talking all about consultations, bookings, upselling. If you have questions, it helps us a ton if you guys interact, and join in on the conversation. So if you have questions, do that. I do want to throw out a couple things before we get going. Nick, I thought it would be best if we started out by maybe giving a little bit of background on just like how long we've been going in business, kind of what we were charging even this time last year, and moving into the questions that way. Just to kind of give a little bit, if somebody's listening to this, for the first time hearing from us, it's like, why do they want to hear from us? So Nick, why don't you tell me just a little bit about kind of what you were charging 15, 18 months ago, and then what you just booked in the last week.
Okay, so I was really in my market. I was really in for the longest time, kind of the 26 to 34 range in my market, and so much so that, and then I don't know, I guess a year ago, February, my bookings weren't where they were at, and so my packages were $3,100, and I just said in my mind, the next person that inquires with me and books, I'm going to give them $300 off. Like, no, didn't put it anywhere, and so I put it out there, and a girl booked my $3,100 package, so that made it $2,800. $2,800. As John and I have been talking, and he's been talking to me about sales and how to structure packages and meetings, I got some great advice from some of my photographer friends, K&B Photography here in Wichita, and they kind of talked about their sales call and getting on the phone really quickly. And so because of stuff I learned from John, from these girls and some other people, I basically sold that exact same package 1 year later for $5,500, and we have booked a.
I'm clapping at you.
Thanks. And we have booked a basically that exact same package for next year in the Phoenix area with travel. She's paying us $8,000. I had a phone call with a girl a couple nights ago, super interested in booking with me. It's in Kansas City for $6,500. So over the last year, I have grown a lot. I have learned a lot. I have just become confident in myself. I think that is the biggest thing with sales that a lot of people lack is just confidence. You say, oh, I charge $5,000. They're quiet for half a second because that's a big number to process. And you're like, oh, never mind. I'll give it to you for $3,500. Like being confident in yourself. And so, so over a little over a year and a half span, with travel, of course, that's a part of it, but I was able to book from a $2,800 package to an $8,000
And I would like to throw it out there, like, obviously this, we don't expect people to necessarily go from $2,800 to, $6,000, $7,000 in a year. But, as we've talked about a lot on this podcast, consistency compounds. And Nick, in the last year has done so much for his brand and so much for his reputation that he's become quite sought after. And a lot of the, the raising your prices part of it is being booked and being able to confidently say, well, I'm already booked. I don't need your booking. This is what it costs if you want me. And then you can slowly start building that. So a little background about me and where I'm at for
get into you.
For 2019, we have 24 weddings this year, 24 weddings booked. The average price per booking right now is somewhere around the $7,000 range. We did a wedding last weekend where they spent a little over $11,000. We've had a couple that are down in the $4,500, but like our, kind of starting out is somewhere between $4,500 and $5,000. And then we really end up doing a lot of upselling. And, I have the a la carte model, which we had a ton of questions about. So we'll get to that. Where I start out now at $5,600 for my bookings. It's just one package, and then everything else is an add-on. So most people are ending up $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for their bookings. And so, that's kind of the range I was in. This time last year, I was starting out at $3,900, and now I'm starting out at $5,600. So that's kind of like in the last year with what I've changed and what I've been doing. So that's just a little bit of the background. I've been shooting now. This is our 13th wedding season. I know Nick's been doing this for a long time.
This is either 7. I think this is my seventh full year.
So, we've been doing this for a minute. And so one of the things we really try to preach here is not like, oh, we make a lot and we do that. It's like, we've had episodes recently about just like our struggles with finances and things like that. But this is such a key part of not only running just a business for a couple of years, but sustaining a brand over a decade plus. There's a lot of things that we want to go over that kind of have helped us as we've gotten out of the, let's just talk about gear. Let's just talk about this. And then now we're moving into like, how can we generate the most amount of income while not coming across as salesy?
Yeah.
So a lot of questions already coming in, Nick. I'm cool if you are cool with just jumping into maybe some of these comments from people live, and then we'll jump over into some of these questions that people have asked. And just so everyone knows, we do have a Facebook group. The ones that are listening to our podcast, just search How to Film Weddings. This is where we do a live Q&A once a month. So Nick, why don't you pick one of these questions and let's jump right into it.
Okay, I'll just start with this first one that I see from our group here. It's Christian McGee. He says, how do you go about a meeting step by step? I'll go ahead and start this.
No, you go right ahead.
Do you want to?
Go.
Me? I don't know. Okay. So, one thing that I believe that has really helped is whenever I get an inquiry, I respond to it as soon as possible. They are the only ones, and I know I'm going to get pushback from some people or whatever, but if I get an inquiry at 10 p.m. at night and I am still awake, I am at least responding to them, whether it's a text or an email saying, hey, we do have your date available. I will reach out to you tomorrow. Something like that, and just letting them know that we are available. Autoresponder emails, like saying, hey, we'll get back to you in 24 hours. If you have one of those, I recommend removing that, because that is like spam to people. They don't care. They don't read it. They're just getting a bounce back email to them. So I would remove that. So getting back to them as soon as possible. Our current system is that we will have someone inquire with us, and then I will try to get them on the phone as fast as I can. So I send an email within minutes if possible, and then say, hey, I'm available at 2 p.m., which is in 30 minutes for a phone call. Are you available then? Then whenever they respond, and in that, I do let them know, hey, my starting price is here. I actually have my full pricing on my website currently at the recording of this. So hopefully they've seen that. If they haven't, I'll put a link to that just so they can look at it. And then they want to have a phone call with me. What I'm doing with the phone call is I'm letting them know, hey, I want to get to know you. I'm really not going to go over specific pricing details in this phone call. Okay. I'll send over booking information with you. I'll send over all of that kind of stuff afterwards, but I just want to get to know you and let you know things about my business. So as I'm talking to them, I'm asking them about them, tell me all your details. And then I like to ask a pointed question. And this is one that I picked up from David Reynoso from Forestry Films when I did a mentorship for him, asking them some sort of pointed question. One thing that Jen and I really like to ask our couples is, let's say we can only film 3 moments at your wedding day. Just 3. Obviously, we're going to be there the whole day, but if we could only pick 3 things that are super important to you, what would they be? And the reason that we like to ask this question is because it gives an insight about what is important to them as a couple. So I can kind of hear their pain points, and a pain point is just a fancy word for the things that they are worried about. So as they're talking about this stuff, hear those things, and then I am able to then reassure them while we are talking. Okay. Yes, I kind of have a sheet, a thing that I like to follow, but a real important part of a sales call is listening to what they're saying and addressing what they're saying. If the bride or groom is bringing up something in that 3 points thing that's really important to them, even though that's point 6 on my about my business stuff that I like to go over, I will go ahead and just bump that up to right then, even though I'm quote unquote out of order, because it fits with what I'm doing. Right? So you're comforting them, answering questions, figuring that out. So I ask them that question, and then I do a short little info about me and Jen. Like, this is literally what I say. Wild Oak Films is a husband and wife team. Jen and I shoot every wedding together. We've been doing this for 7 years. We have 2 children. Like, super simple, super fast, just so they can get a little insight, about us, who we are, but very basic. And then we've picked out 6 or 7 things, and this is going to be unique to every business, but we have 6 or 7 things that I kind of go over and talk about ways that I believe set us apart. And I can't answer that for you because I don't know you and your business, but if you sit down and think about things that you offer or ways that you are, or how you, like we say, service is a big deal to us. We're basically like a bridal party. We're basically like we're a part of the bridal party, but with cameras. Like, people really like hearing that kind of thing. So if you can think of some things that are unique to you guys, or maybe it's not unique, but you just do it really, really well, push those things out. Okay, that was a really, really long-winded answer, but that's kind of what we do through our phone call.
And thank you for joining us today. We've run out of time with that. No, I think that's all good stuff. I think I love doing like in-person consultations. I'm doing a lot of booking over the emails and phone calls and text messages. I mean, people at this point in my career are like, hey, do you have this day open? If not, do you have this day open? Like, I mean, there's a lot of that. And so a lot of people, it's just kind of they're ready to book when they're messaging. But whenever I can get somebody in person or on a FaceTime call, the main points, we could talk the whole hour about just these consultations, but the main thing I'm wanting them to know is how much I know and how much they need me at their wedding. Not what kind of gear I'm using or any of that. I just want to kind of like, throw little bits here and there of like things that they might not have even thought about with their timeline. I help them build through the day. Like, I'm just trying to show them I've been to 500 weddings. I've done this for 13 years. I am, I want you to enjoy your day. That's one of our big things. That's what our Instagram profile says. It's like, we want you to enjoy the day. And I'm okay with going over the hard things with you as we lead up to the wedding, because on the wedding day, you're not going to stress one bit because we're taking care of this. We're going to make sure. And, if I can get mom in the room and the bride, like, that's whenever I'm really good, because it's like, I want to relate to mom and the bride and kind of, so I'm trying to get both of them in the room. I just had a consultation with a bride this week at a Starbucks, actually. That's where they were at, and mom and the bride met me, and it was just so much easier to communicate to both of them at the same time, talk to them about things, and just educate them. And that is where, you slowly start building that rapport with them to where they're like, whoa, I can't do my wedding without them. And so that, that alongside, I mean, there's so much more with consultations, but that kind of scratches the surface a little bit.
One thing I do want to say, and this is something that I learned from John a long time ago, was it seems, pricing on your website, whenever you have that or you have these meetings, you are dumping so much information on them. Like, we think that they need to know absolutely everything that we have to offer. They have to know everything in our package. They have to know everything. And all you are doing is overwhelming your bride and overwhelming your couples. So in that initial meeting, that's why I don't go over pricing. That's why I don't go over that kind of stuff. And I send it to them later so that it just doesn't like overwhelm
them. And that's the thing is like, I tell them, and this is another thing real quick, is at the beginning of the meeting, I tell them my goal is not to necessarily sell them a wedding. I would love to shoot their wedding and I would love to make money off their wedding. but I only shoot 25 weddings a year, and my goal is to see if I'm the exact right fit for you. So you don't have to worry at all about if you're, you're not going to hurt my feelings. My goal is to talk to you. If you get the warm fuzzies about me and I get them about you, I'll answer questions. I know all the answers to the questions about the video gear. I just want to hear their story, learn their pain points, and then talk to those. And then I say by the end of this consultation, I'm not going to try to book you everything you need to know for your wedding. I just want to reserve your day, and we have time at that point to really get to know each other and book everything else out. So it just starts this process with them instead of being like, okay, you have to pick this package right now. That's the thing where you start getting in these finite decisions for people, and they're like, So, were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say, I had it, and then you kept talking.
Hey, man, you talked for like 14 minutes. Okay, bro?
I know. No. Okay, whatever. So, I hope that covers our consultations. If you have questions about that, and again, this is going to be unique to you, but the biggest thing that I have to say to you is be confident in it, and it really doesn't hurt to write down a script. Like, at least bullet points until you, like, now I don't need it anymore because I've done it so many times, but write down some bullet points that will help you out through this is what I was going to say. By you saying something like, I only take a limited number of weddings each year, and who knows, maybe your limit is 50. Like, they don't have to know how many that you do, but you are putting in kind of a sense of urgency with them to like, this guy only, I hope I'm good enough, for them, So that it kind of puts something on then. Like Jen had that phone call and she said that, and the girl, whenever they were getting off the phone, she actually said, I felt like I was in an interview and like, did I screw up? Did I mess it up? So anyway, that's what I was going to say. I'll stop talking and let you ask another question or something else.
I think it's great that you're Chatty Cathy today. Jeremy Bay was like, Nick's Chatty Cathy today. Okay, so let's jump over to a question from our Instagram page. If you don't follow us there, at How to Film Weddings, # shameless plug. At Maraca Studios says, a la carte versus packages. Kind of what's our stance on a la carte versus packages. So I'll let you kind of talk about what you do. I'll talk about what I do. And then we can, that.
Okay, one thing that I have come to learn is that it totally depends on your market, and it totally depends on your price point. A la carte stuff doesn't seem to work for low to mid-range photographers. It just doesn't seem to work. So, and that's different for every market. Right? So you just kind of need to figure out in your market where you are on that spectrum. And if you're kind of on the lower end, I would probably suggest leaning towards packages. Also, if you are just starting out, I would probably also suggest leaning towards packages until you get some work and you can kind of build that up. We are on a we are on a package system, primarily packages. We do have a la carte upgrades, but the big purpose that those a la carte upgrades are on there is so when they look at package 1, then they look at the a la carte upgrades, then they look at package 2, they see that package 2 is actually cheaper to get that than it would be to get package 1 with the exact same stuff to upgrade them to package 2. Because that would make it it's like $1,500 more to do it that way. So we have it on there, but as a tactic to upsell them to that middle package. So we are definitely package based. I have never been a la carte based, and for the foreseeable future, I don't know if I'm going to go that way.
So
okay.
Yeah,
shorter answer.
Forever I was packages, small, medium, large. I always had a package out there that was like so expensive that like maybe somebody would book it, and if somebody booked it, I would raise that price. That was kind of my go-to. I was pushing people with low-hanging fruit, so to speak, to come into a $2,000 video package, and it might only include one shooter for 5 hours, but then like I really wanted to push them towards the middle. As we've grown and bumped more into the higher end market, I wouldn't say we're luxury market, but I would say most of our weddings, the budget is near a 6-figure budget for the whole wedding or more. So, I mean, we do get some that are like definitely, they're definitely not weddings that are low budget anymore by any means. So for us now, what our packages look like today for booking for 2020 weddings, we have one package that is I don't call it the base. I just say we have a package that like, this is what I would have if my daughters were getting married. This is what I would film, and that is 2 shooters for 8 hours, a 6 to 8 minute feature film, and a digital download of the film. That's it. And it's $5,600. So, $5,600 gets you to book Redeemed Productions. That's one package. If you have more time that you need, $700 an hour. If you want aerial footage, this much. If you want a hard drive, this much. And I tell them that like, we're going to film the ceremony in its entirety. We're going to film the speeches in their entirety, the first dances, all these things. But I'm going to wait to, I say some people buy these. Some people want an edit with all of them in them. Some people want the hard drive with all the raw footage. But I want you to see your film first. And so like, I'm not trying to sell them this. A lot of my sales happen after the fact. And so, but I will tell them, hey, if your speeches are at rehearsal dinner, I'm going to be there. I don't ask them if they want me to be there. I tell them I'm going to be there. And it's the same thing with a lot of, it's like, you need this. Your venue is on the beach in Malibu. I'm doing aerial footage. Like you need, like, it's not something that like, if you're hiring me, I'm going to just keep telling you what you need. And I'm never going to sell you something that you don't need. So if I don't think you need it, I'm not going to offer it to you. For example, I was at a rehearsal dinner the other night and the bride was like, could you please stay another couple of hours? I'd already filmed the speeches. I'd already gotten details. $700 an hour times 2 more hours. I could have made $1,400 more dollars, but I said, I've got everything. I really don't need anything else. And I didn't sell her that because like, I'm a good person that's not trying to be salesy. And so if your heart is, how can I take care of this couple? That is how you do it without being salesy. So one package, lots of add-ons. I did a wedding a couple weeks ago where they had 14 hours of coverage time. You do the math. I mean, it was, it gets more expensive that way. So yeah, that's kind of how I set up the packages. My package, one package plus a la carte. That's been the most successful for me.
Right. And I'm not saying that someday I might not get there, but just where I am, like Jen, and this is another thing that you're going to, who is that same question, that same Maroka Studios asked, knowing to price your worth. Like, I think that a lot of people, other people will tell you from other markets what your video should cost, which I think is a very dangerous thing to do. Like in LA or New York, you might be a $5,000 videographer, but in, middle of nowhere, Kansas, maybe you're only a $2,000 videographer, but and it's the same quality, but it's just the people can't afford you in different places. So that's really something that you need to keep in mind is your market, where you live. Also, Jen and I have decided that we are giving the ceremony away in every single package. We don't feel right charging people for that because we believe that that is something that every couple should have. That's our belief. I know John doesn't do that, and I don't fault him, and I don't think he's wrong for doing that. I feel a little bit of shame
right now, just a little bit.
Yeah, you should. No, so what I'm saying is price your worth and like figure out your happy price and then just make sure that it's kind of comparable to everyone else around you. Like if you're undercutting everyone else by $2,000, you should probably re-examine that. But if you're good with your price at $2,500 and everyone else is about in that area and you're booked enough and you're happy, like there's nothing wrong with keeping it that way, whether you have the ceremony in there or you don't have the ceremony. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
What I'm saying there?
And it's being true to you. Like the way I edit my films, I include a lot of the ceremony, like a lot of the vows, the toast, or, like I'm including the majority of that stuff because my films are a 10 to 15 minute film where yours is a 5-minute film. And so like, it's just like I would feel bad not giving them the ceremony if I didn't take everything that I thought was good to put in their film. So it's to each their own kind of, but that's kind of, and I would say too, just referring, episode 10 of our podcast with Ray Roman, we talked a lot about branding, your happy price. Go back, listen to that because that's really great. I want to jump to a question again from our Instagram, and I've got it kind of pulled up, and I want to answer it too. So at Fox Jump Cinematics says, "What is the best phrasing for a follow-up email?" And so what I want to plug our email templates. First of all, if you haven't been to our shop, howtofilmweddings.com, I'm going to read the email template that I use for a follow-up. just like best phrasing for a follow-up email. This one is my one day after I've talked to a couple. It just says, hey, first name, just wanted to follow back up since sending our first email. Sometimes we end up in the spam folder, so we just wanted to see if you had any questions for us. This time of year can be quite busy, so we don't want to miss out on the opportunity to work with you on the wedding. Our calendar's booking up rather fast, so we'd love to take a few minutes to chat if you're available. If you're still interested and would like to schedule a time to talk, please let me know some times that work in the next few days. We work on a first come, first served basis, so we want to make sure your day is available if you're wanting to potentially work with us. If you have decided to move on to another company or hire another company, please let us know so we can update our records. Happy wedding planning. That's the exact word for word email. I just gave you a free email from our email templates. And to me, it's like you want to follow up. You want to be kind, but you also want to let them know that like they need to either paint or get off the ladder. So that's a Dave Ramsey quote. I stole it.
Yeah. Okay. So for all of our emails that we sent, I would write them. And then one day my wife, Jen, she like looked at what I said and she just kind of, did the face to, hand to face emoji and was like, what in the world are you doing, Nick? Like, this is awful. So she rewrote them. If you are a bad writer, there's tons of us out there. I am one of them. If you are just not good at that, we do have these email templates, which are fantastic, a great starting point. Also, there are copy people out there. Like you say, hey, I want some killer emails. Like this is kind of the general idea. Make this sound professional and nice. Make this sound how I talk. Okay. That I think is a great idea. Someone, Ashley Chisholm asked about ghosting, and that's a line, that's an email from our email template. And that last line in there, it says something about if you have moved on or have decided we're out of your budget, please let us know so we can update our records. Our response to people that aren't going to work with us has drastically gone up, and people just letting us know because we have included that line. It's like we're giving them a way out, and I think that people are less threatened to say no thanks whenever we already give them, hey, if you book somebody else, that's fine. We don't care. We just need to update our records. So that is something that has helped with ghosting, and we can circle back to that question, but I thought that those two
let's jump right in. I mean, that question that she asked I thought was really good. I followed up in the Facebook group with like some what do you mean by this, some clarification. So her question's a little longer, but she's saying we always get ghosted by leads. Even if we ask questions and respond within 5 minutes, they usually only send one reply or none at all. Would also like some wording tips on educating brides about the value of videography without feeling pushy. Thanks. And then she basically said they currently just have a starting price on their contact page. They usually immediately send the pricing info. And then especially if they've already included the date and location in the message, they immediately send pricing. Their leads mostly come through their website, so they usually text or email them right away. Something like, we're still available. We still have your date. Here's the link to our details. Then if they respond to that, we usually ask if there's a good time we can call or chat more. So, I mean, that's a long response, but Nick, what do you go for it? Answer that question.
Okay. So Jen and I have changed. We, after our conversation with Max, Sadek a few weeks ago, we've actually listed our entire pricing on our website. We're just trying it out. I don't know. I think that that's something that's really good for our industry and you as a business, is just to try things out for a time. We might go back to just putting starting price. I don't know. But what I was saying, coming back to this, I think it might be a mistake if your follow-up email is your pricing. Like just sending that. Now, if you're going to list your pricing on your website, like that's a different thing. But if someone says, okay, starting prices, we'll say $5,000, and then you send them your price list, and then it's just 5,000, 7, 8, just really big. And then like you're giving them all of the information that they think that they need right then and there. Okay. So the approach that Jen and I took for a long time was we put starting price on our website. And then if someone inquired with us, we wrote them back and say, hey, we're so excited. We are available for your wedding day. We asked them to tell their story. And we actually put a little tidbit of something that they put from their story. So if we ask them their story and they said, our dog Baxter, he put the ring on his collar and he came to me, then I'll write back, oh, that's so cute about your dog Baxter and the ring. We have a dog too, something like that to kind of connect a little bit. And then I try to ask them for a phone call. Then, I say, hey, we like to go over our phone call. We like to just get to know you a little bit. Here is our starting price. And then I bold, underline, italicize that price again so that they can see it. And then I ask, hey, is this date, is this time a good chance for a phone call? Okay, because you've already given them the starting price information on your website. So theoretically, they have it, though most people don't read, so they might not. But again, in the email, they can see that price, and then they can see if they want to set up a phone call. Then you have the phone call, and you just kind of get to know them and talk to them, and then send your price list after the phone call. So now they kind of know you and what you're about, so they have that information whenever they're talking to you.
Well, I was going to say, so like on my website, it says starting at $5,600. I've tested lots of different ways. I tested the last 3 months with no pricing on my website. I know that you've tested. I'm interested to see how your pricing full on your website goes. Yeah,
me too.
But so for me, my happy place is a starting price that weeds out a lot of people. I would say that in your contact form, I would not have, and this is something from Max Sadek's episode just a couple weeks back, I would not have what is your budget as a question, because people don't know what their budget is, and it puts them in a box. They don't want to offend you, but they also don't want to get taken advantage of. So it's just a question that you don't really want to ask. You can qualify them in a lot of different ways, where their venue is, who the referral came from. You can get to know that as you get to know them a little bit. If my main thing, and where I disagree or I'm not there where Nick is there by putting prices on the site, is I don't think that anybody can explain me or what I do better than me. And I don't want to give them all of the data because I feel like it's overwhelming. And I feel like that they're going to look at those numbers and say, okay, these videos are good. These are the numbers. I'm going to put this in my spreadsheet. And I'm a big fan of being a little more sticky. And I'm not griping at the way you're doing. You're winning. No gripe to this guy over there. But to me, I want them to see that starting price and think, okay, whoa, that's expensive. Okay, my budget's going to be somewhere around $5,600. Then after an hour of talking to me, be like, we have to have this guy at our wedding no matter what. And so there's more work that goes into that. And if you're a volume brand, or if you're just, lower price point, you might want to have, hey, it's $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 or whatever. Or if you're booked like Nick is booked out through the year, well, let me try this and see what this looks like. So do you have a rebuttal to my just shaming?
No, I don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I definitely see value in that. At a meeting I was at a couple weeks ago, one of the girls said, "You are an expert in you." That's the only thing that you're really an expert in is you. And so I get what you're saying about, talking to them about what we do and how we do, and no one can else explain. Like a piece of paper on your website or a page on your website isn't going to necessarily show that. We were just in a spot where we wanted to try it. We had heard Max, the success that he had doing it, and his test that he had done. And so because we are fully booked for 2019, because we are ahead of where we were this time last year for the next year, we're like, hey, we're just going to try this out and see what happens. And if it's in, once it comes, August time or whatever, if we're not booking anything more, then we'll probably just go back to
and I was going to say too, you said I'm fully booked for 2019. I am in the camp of I'm never fully booked. My prices just go way up once I hit a certain number, because if somebody said, hey, Nick, I'll give you $15,000 to shoot on this Saturday in October, which in 2019, you'd be like, okay, I'll do that. I would assume. So sure. Again, it's just a difference with, and I'm not trying to, I think it's kind of fun to disagree. I think people would like that, but
well, I say fully booked. We are at a number that we want to be, but Jen and I have gotten emails like, we're actually shooting in Seattle in 2 weeks, and this bride literally booked with us 3 weeks ago. And we were quote unquote fully booked, but she was really interested. It was a cool venue. It's a place that we wanted to go. And so we're like, okay, we're available.
And that's
Let's
the thing
do
is
it.
like, once you're to that point, you know, we have a lot of questions about confidence and raising prices and stuff. But like, once you're to a point, and we've talked about this a lot of times, like if you know that, hey, you need to make $70,000 as a company to like pay all of your bills and win for 2020. Once you've hit that number, that's a time where you can really test and like push things and see, oh, I'm going to just bump everything by $700 and see. And then nobody books.
Right.
Okay, I might lower this, or people just book without even questioning it. You might slap yourself on the forehead. But I don't like taking big risks with my pricing when I'm in a vulnerable position already. So once I get to a certain percentage of bookings per year in the year, that's when I start like slowly $300, $400, $500 up, or taking, you know, I did start 7 hours last year for $4,900. Now it's 8 hours for $5,600. It's same pricing, but I'm not going to take a wedding that doesn't want me there for 8 hours. And I've booked 7 of the 20 or so weddings that I want to book for next year already. So I'm like, okay, I got to gauge against that. So it's a constant science.
So tell me, what CRM do you use? If you're not sure or you don't know what a CRM is, I'm about to save you a lot of time and therefore money. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Basically, a CRM is an online service that helps you better serve your clients. HoneyBook is both mine and John's CRM of choice. We absolutely love it. HoneyBook allows us to do all of our correspondence, contracts, and payments all in one place. One of the features that I love is the automated workflow. We all have emails that we send out to all of our clients, right? At 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, the week of. All of us do it. Automated workflows make it so that those emails can go out automatically. Since I don't have to take time to, 1, remember to send them out, and 2, to write them, I save time and make more money by working more efficiently. Are you interested in saving time on the business side of things? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook for a free 1-week trial. Also, because the Honeybooks really like me and John, we can give you $200 off of your first year, and that also comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook to start saving lots of time in your business. Oh yeah, legally I have to tell you that John and I are affiliates of HoneyBook. Okay, so Natalie Cherie says in our Facebook group, I'd also love to hear some suggestions on what we can upsell. Photographers have a bit of the monopoly on the upsell game at the moment with prints, albums, zines, etc. Post-wedding, and I'm not sure what we have on our end that would be similar.
That's a great question.
It almost feels like it's more lucrative to be a photographer, a quarter of the time editing, available to outsource, and all the profit albums, whatever, you know. So your question here is, and I, for the longest time, was in this boat. I hated that I wasn't a photographer because I couldn't upsell. I don't think that's the case. John, I'll let you talk about that.
First of all, to answer towards the second part of that question, almost feels like it's more lucrative to be a photographer. Yes, it's easier. I mean, we have photography on our team. You can carry one backpack with a light stand and you're good to go for the day. It's much easier on your body. It's a lot less editing. You can outsource. But if you haven't noticed, there are a bajillion photographers. And I know there are more videographers that are coming and people that are getting interested in it, but like a lot of them fizzle out because it is such hard work. And so like the competition with videography is so much less than with photography. Like when we're trying to sell a photo package, it's like, well, I'm also looking at these 13 photographers, like legit. And then when they're going against video, it's like we've got one other person we're kind of looking at.
Right. Yeah. What did we learn from Max in that episode? We keep referring to that, but he said that the Wedding Wire statistic is that each couple is reaching out to 7 vendors in the exact same department, exact same category. So, but there aren't, in my area, it would be pushing it to find that many videographers. There's only that do weddings. We're only in the, probably I'd say 10 to 20 range in where we are that are like having, trying to make legitimate businesses and stuff. And then, but with photography, there are hundreds, if not thousands in our area. So that's something on that end. It's not as much work, but in other senses, it is more work because you're competing with so much more. Okay. So now let's get into the upselling question.
Love it.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then someone else, let me look back here. I think this was actually in our chat here. And then maybe to go along with this, I'll let you talk about this. Abigail Cole asks, how do you price add-ons? Okay. So what are stuff that you can add on, and then what some recommendations are for pricing?
We get in this box, right, of like, well, we sell a wedding video, so we can sell a wedding video, and then we're kind of done. A couple of the things that I've been really, like, I booked a wedding the other day where they paid the $5,600, and then I added a $1,500 edit on top of it to make it a $7,100 starting price, like starting book. They booked $7,100. Was a full day documentary edit, FOMO edit. I've talked about them before, but it's basically everything from the entire day. Instead of a raw footage package, like where they just get the hard drive, instead of a ceremony edit, it's everything in one timeline, tidied up, all the shaky stuff taken away, no music behind it, the synced ceremony kind of edited in the middle of it, the synced speeches. That's a $1,500 add-on that the first time I tried selling it the other day, somebody bought it. And so it was just like, okay, I'm going to start offering that to every single person from the last 6 months, and I'm going to start offering it moving forward. So that's a huge one. Hard drives with raw footage are the easiest thing to sell to me. You literally drag and drop everything over to a hard drive. Extra time, so everything I do is like technically an upsell. So I add extra time to the length of the wedding edit. I might get into the edit and tell the bride and groom, hey, you have an 8-minute film. I can easily make this a 10 or 12-minute film. It's $300 or $400 for, each 2 minutes that we add on. So there's those kinds of things. More time, rehearsal dinner, engagement video, like go out on their engagement session with them. There's so many things that we can sell. Oh, we're going to do a story of us video where we come and record you. We're going to show it at the reception, just like we're going to have you each record your story together, and then we'll finish up with your engagement photos that night and have a bunch of great footage. It can be a save the date video. The list goes on and on if you just get creative. There's plenty more, but I want to let you.
Yeah. The most popular, I think, upsell add-on things you could be, you're going to be ceremony edit, toast edit, the FOMO edit or fear of missing out. We do those. We call them keepsake edits. And how we've really sold them is we say, these aren't the videos that you're going to like share on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but it's going to matter to you because you're going to be able to see and hear your bridesmaids, your groomsmen, and kind of say, hey, this is a really nice looking home video. Yeah. Kind of put it in that way, so it's more raw.
Everything.
We put music on it and stuff, but it's not as polished as our highlight videos. And so people really, really like that idea. And a good line that we have from our sales is, we're not thinking about what you want right now. We're thinking what you will appreciate in 5 to 10 years. And that's something that people will want. There is some debate or whatever. Some people like, hey, I have a drone, I'm just going to fly it. There's other people that charge for it. That's an upsell that you could do. Length of film, more hours. But again, like when it comes to hours, I had a meeting with the other night, a bride, and she was asking, do I, okay, I'm ready to add another hour. Kind of like you were, just telling your story. And I was like, no, you know what? I don't think we need it. And I think that she appreciated that she didn't have to spend an additional $500 on something that I didn't think she needed.
Real quick, Matt Shamlou, to follow up to that question, he said, I feel couples get turned off at times when asking about add-ons. Is there a way you sell it? So here's what I do, Matt. Like from the time we start meeting and talking, because of the way that I am, I say we're not going to know everything you're going to need until we get a little closer. You don't know your timeline until 2 months out from the wedding, like your full timeline. You might know kind of a little bit of this. So 6 months out, we're going to meet again and we're going to talk and we're going to answer questions. And so like, I will tell them I'm always going to offer them things that I feel like they really need. I'm never going to try to sell them something. I just say it. I say, I'm not trying to sell you something you don't need. I will make sure that you get, I'm treating you like I would if my daughter was coming to have somebody film their wedding, because I know that I want to have good mojo when my daughter does get married in 50 years. But in all honesty, it's like if you're just upfront with them and aren't trying to like, hey, I'm going to bait and switch you. All you need is this. And then 2 weeks before the wedding, it's like, ta-da, $1,500 more worth of stuff. But like, I'm always checking in with them. And I'm, since I only have 20 to 25 clients a year, I know them very well, and I'm trying my very best to like really help them. And if it's an add-on, great. If it's actually deducting something from the package or whatever, like that long term, if you're saying you want them to be happy in 5 years, I want them to be referring me for the next 5 years. And that's more important to me than way more important to me than getting an extra $500. So if that's your heart, and if you're doing like our budget template talk we did, our budget, like if you have money in the bank and a savings, a retained earnings, you're not making decisions based on I need money, and people can smell that on you if you're like trying to get more money. I believe very wholeheartedly that if you're providing a service, you should get paid for it and get paid well for it if you're an expert in what you do. We don't question whether a surgeon needs to get paid, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. But like we sell ourselves short because we're a little uncomfortable with it. But like if we're the professional and we're going to conferences and we're listening to this podcast and we're doing all these things, why isn't our time worth that? And so if you're confident in it and you're not trying to just sell them something, man, it really, they will end up spending 20-30% more with you just because you've taken the time to build that relationship and know their pain points.
Yeah. That's all.
Nick, I gotta ask one question. Really this guy, Gabriel Duming, Gabriel Duming. He's asked it in our Facebook group a couple times and live today, and I want to get to it. He's got a couple of questions, and these, they go a little bit with the consultations side of things. His first question: do you give couples options of music selected by you and have them choose which one they want? And then the other part that I wanted to answer, let's start with that one actually. Do you give couples the options of music selected by you and have them choose which one they want? What do you do?
No, I do not. My couples have no say in that. And whenever it comes up, I have like 3 responses that I always say. Number 1, I license all of my music legally. So, I'm sorry that you like, really big band over here, but I probably can't use that music because if it gets really big, I can get sued and I don't want to lose my house and all that stuff. So that's number 1. Number 2, I tell them that you might like this specific style. Let's say you really like country music, but you have a really high-end, elegant wedding. Those 2 things might not go together. And while it matters to you, that doesn't fit with who you are on your wedding day and all that. So as I'm telling my story, I need something where all of the pieces fit together. And then last, why I don't let them pick is, especially this comes to more like top 40 or popular music or, whatever, is, hey, you might really love this song and I'm going to make it your wedding video, and then you hear it on the radio or you listen to it all the time, and then in a couple of years you hate your wedding video.
I had back in the day when I was doing like unlicensed music before there were sites like MusicBed or Soundstripe or whatever. Sure. I used a song and it ended up in not a Viagra commercial, but something similar. And like, I was just like, oh no, like it was like 3 years later and I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. Anyway. So what I had this exact question come up in my consultation Monday with the bride and her mom. They were like, do we get to pick the music? Do we get to pick the vibe? And I said, to be honest, I'm going to take the first run at it. I say, I know what all the footage looks like. I know what all the words are. I know what the wedding feels like. And I didn't say it in this many words, but I was basically like, you don't hire an artist to do a painting for you and tell them what colors to use. It puts them in a box. You're hiring them for their art. And so I was just like, why don't you let me, I know the vibe. I know I told them also, I gave them a little bit of credibility behind this plan. And I was like, I've done this for years and I've never had one couple ask me to change their song. So,
right.
Are you laughing at Andy Moody? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's keep going. Go ahead.
And then he asked that last part that I think we're going to cover is not sure if you include both a highlight and a full video, but if you do include a full video, what do you include in that full video? There's so many different ways to describe how we do our packages and how we do stuff. What I do is I have a highlight video, which is a 5 to 6 minute video. They can make it longer if they want. Then we have our ceremony edit. I have a toast edit. I have what might call keepsake edits, which is the getting ready edit, which is everything before the ceremony. And then I have the reception edit, which is everything after the ceremony. Those are kind of the things, and I know there's different ways to put it, but yeah. So that's how we do that. And I know that yours are kind of similar.
Feature film, and if it gets over 15 minutes, that's when I try to tell them, hey, we should probably do like a 3 to 5 minute video for your Facebook and Instagram, that kind of thing. But my sweet spot's somewhere between 10 and 12 minute video. That's what I provide. And a lot of times people buy the hard drive with the footage. I kept pulling things out of the package till it was just like, this is what I know you need. If you want the ceremony edit, there's an add-on cost, that kind of stuff. So I don't have 3 or 4 edits, just that one. They're happy with it. I'll make teasers and things for Instagram and Facebook just because I want shorter videos. But yeah, that's the main thing that they're getting. And YouTube likes a little bit longer video too.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Okay, what was the next thing you were going to ask?
I wanted to ask Peter Aponte's question, which I really, and we've been talking a lot about this, Nick, just about more so like the mental struggle of what we do and like having physical health and mental health and like running this business and running businesses can be very stressful and you have to have confidence. And we hear all this stuff, but like we're really going to dive in a lot to like your your being in the next month or so on these podcasts and just about, leaning into what's unique about you and being confident in you and not feeling like you always have to work and things like that. So I just felt like this question was pretty cool. He says, my biggest struggle is taking myself out of the sale. I give a quote and then I second guess myself. When the selling process is taking too long, I ruin it by throwing in more time or services they haven't necessarily asked for to make the original price seem more appealing. I did a 3-month pre-wedding call with the bride and saw an opportunity for an upsell with hours and edits. Ended up giving 2 hours for free with a frowny face. So, Nick, what do you have to say towards just this whole topic?
You're not alone in this. I think that this is everyone's struggle. Self-doubt is such a big thing. And I think that that's almost why so many of us don't like it whenever we find someone that's actually confident. Like we say, oh, that guy is so cocky. Like he's such a bleep and bleep because we're not used to seeing confidence, right? We're not used to seeing people. And so it's a really tough thing. One thing because I struggle with this a lot, like I didn't see value in myself and I didn't see, that I could charge more and I didn't, see that people would find value in what I was doing and that kind of stuff. And then I just decided that for one wedding, I was going to let my word be my word. I've been Jen and I have been listening to a lot of Rachel and Dave Hollis and stuff, and Jen just got her Wash Your Facebook or whatever. And one of the things that Rachel Hollis said was we need to quit lying to ourselves. Right? How many of us, if we make commitments with friends or with family or our children, like we'll break our backs to keep those commitments. But then whenever you say, oh, I am going to go work out tomorrow, but you break that commitment to yourself all the time. And so the advice that I would be is to have something, and maybe you're not confident, act like you are the most confident person in the world. Just show up and be that person. Try it out. If you need to, write a sales call and practice it and, that kind of thing, if that will help you out. But I would say stick to your guns and try it for the next 3 clients, I am not going to backtrack. I am going to say, this is my price and I'm going to stick to it and just see what happens. And whenever they ask a question, I would always get into this thing of, someone's like, how much do extra hours cost? You know, what's an additional hour? And we charge $500. And I'd sit there for a second. As soon as they asked that, I'd be like, $350. Like, so in that response, I wasn't confident in what I said. And so now you just have to kind of train yourself to say, this is what it costs, and I am not going to give it in. Now, if they are willing to, if you have a $3,000 package and they have all this stuff and they're willing to spend $6,000 and then they say, hey, can I have this thing, but it's twice the normal price? Like, okay, you know what? If you go with this $6,000 package, I'll give you the raw footage for free. You know, like that kind of stuff is totally fine. But I say just be confident and do what you are going to do and do it.
Yeah.
Try it.
That's all right. It's good stuff. Here's the thing. Like, I said it at my workshop, but like, I got to a point in my pricing where I realized that like, I was charging what I would be willing to pay, and that was it. I was not charging what it was actually worth. I was better than I was able to pay, just financially. So I thought I have to stop there. I was my own lid. I was my own ceiling. And so once I realized, you know, there was a couple of times about 6 years ago, I had like a $7,000 like top package, and like 2 people called within like a 6-month window of time, and they're like, we'll just take the top package. Is there anything else we can buy? And I was like, no, that's literally unlimited coverage. Every film edit that we do, it was slider shots. It was, you know, everything that we could sell back then. It was everything. And I was like, nope, that's it. And I get to their wedding and they're like spending a ridiculous amount of stuff. And it was like, they would have paid double. And it was just like, man, they saw something in me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to if I'm not confident in me, number one, they're not going to be confident in me. So if I'm like, and I waver, they're not going to treat me like the pro that I am. And, you know, if you're just getting going, if you're 2-3 weddings in, it's different than someone that's shot 400 or more weddings. But like, I'm very confident that it's like, and I will say these things. This is something I will say in a consultation. I'll say, I'm one of the most expensive people in this part of the country. I get it, but you get what you pay for. And I will stand by all these reviews. If you would like, I can connect you with this many brides that says this was the best decision. This is, you know, I get it. It's expensive. I don't take it lightly. That's why I only take so many a year. But this is the thing that you get to take away. And you don't want to hire somebody that does this on the weekends, that just is trying this and dabbling in this. You want somebody that is pushing towards this either being their full-time career or is their full-time career. And you don't want somebody that just knows how to shoot. You want somebody that focuses on weddings. And that's all I shoot. And, you know, that's kind of the way I sound when I'm talking to them. And there's this, you know, confidence about the way that I'm talking that turns some people off probably, but like the people that get me and that they're just like, we love John. Like, he's the best decision that we made for a whole wedding besides actually getting married, you know? And so once you taste that a little bit and you realize, oh wow, they paid a lot. Right. They would have paid you more, and they're happy that they paid us that. It gets addictive where it's like, I want to see how good I can get. So I can, you know, like, I'm constantly getting better at what I do so I can charge more and take better care. But ultimately, my why is I want to change my family tree. I want my kids to grow up in a home that's beautiful and comfortable, and I want them to go to schools. And like, I remember that kind of stuff whenever I'm feeling like I'm not good enough, you know. So, long-winded answer from me.
Hey, but no, that's really good stuff that you were saying there. So I appreciate it. Good job. Are there any other ones in here that we kind of haven't covered?
There's a lot still on my list from Instagram, that kind of thing. Let's see. I've got one real quick that's a little bit on by @photography. By Molly, Photographies by Molly. How do you figure out if a couple is your ideal client after they've contacted you?
Okay. Here are a few things that you can do. Number one, on your website, show the kind of weddings that you want to shoot. Mm-hmm. Okay. Show what you want to shoot. If you are putting, like me, I'm starting to get a lot of destination stuff because if you go to my website, I think 5 of the 6 wedding videos that are on my website are not in Wichita, mm-hmm. Kansas. Okay, so we're starting to get a lot more of that kind of thing. You're going to find that the types of editing that you do, you'll find that. I am always saying, trying to find your ideal clients. I think first, let me say this, backtracking a little bit. You need to identify who your ideal client is. And I'm talking really specific. You need to say, how old are they? Where do they shop? Where do they live? How much money do they make? What television shows do they like to watch? Build a person. What do they like to do? Where do they like to go on vacation? What's their favorite beer? What's their favorite coffee? Whatever it is. And then start forming your business in a way that will attract that kind of person. On your About Me page, make it so that either attracts people or repels people. My friend Troy, who lives in Wichita and second shot for John a while ago, he said he worked for this photographer, and he said that she had the worst potty mouth he had ever heard on a girl that size. I think is what he said. Something like that. It's just this little, and he said, I went to her website, and the first words on it are like, F yeah. Okay? Now, to me, that repels me from wanting to, but there are a ton of people that were like, yeah, she's hired. Like, I don't even need to see anything else. She is hired. And so the things that you put on your website, the films that you're putting on, the things that you write, how you respond, that will really help you figure out your ideal client, and then will help your ideal client find you that way. It's work, but you will be happy whenever you figure those things out and do them.
My response to this is very similar, but I know within especially in an in-person consultation, within about 60 seconds if they're an ideal client. I just get a feeling about a specific couple. Like, to me, I don't necessarily need... I don't have it written out of they need to have this much money or this kind of thing or what. I love the spectrum of couples that we get to talk to. I love that or get to work with. I will do weddings where their entire budget for their wedding is, me, and that's it. I will do people's weddings that I just fall in love with their story. And so for me, I'm looking for people that are super emotional, love emotions, love crying. They want to cry watching their film. They want to laugh. They're very emotional. They see value in wedding films. It's the top of their list. Mm-hmm. That have a budget. That's great. But and that they love our work. I don't want them to book me because their high-end planner told them to book me. Or that's not my ideal client. Right. Now, somebody in the group posted, everyone's my ideal client. I couldn't disagree more. I don't think everyone, and
I agree with your disagreement. I think that
he might have been joking around a little bit, but
he might have been.
It's everyone is not your ideal client. That's where I lived for 10 of the first 13 years in our business. Was sure, I'll be a fire hydrant, a water, anywhere, megaphone. I want to book anybody and everybody that has money and wants to. And right. I hated my life. And talking about this enjoyment factor of what we do, we should enjoy what we do. And there might be a few years of putting in the work to doing a lot of weddings for people that you don't love doing their weddings, which is, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It's okay especially when you're first building something. It's okay to do weddings for people that aren't your quote unquote ideal clients. If you are low on bookings and you need to feed your family or pay your rent, it is okay to do those kinds of weddings. Okay. We're not trying to say that, you shouldn't work for everyone and that, like that, but if you have a clear idea of who your ideal client is, what you want them to be, then if you start showing that and present yourself that is attractive to that kind of person, then they will find you and they will book you.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, the more you shoot, the more you do this, the more you realize, oh, I don't like doing this. In 2017, I did a wedding where their budget was around $250,000 for the wedding. They spent over $10,000 on video. It was insane, but they treated me like the help. And they treated me like I was a, second-rate citizen. They just talked down at me. They gave me a cold sandwich for dinner that was soggy and they just didn't treat me. And like, I remember getting to my car at the end of that night and I mean, I'm an emotional dude. I just broke down and started like literally crying in my car because I hated that day so much. And I was like, I'm never doing this. I'm never doing this again. I'm only going to work. And my life changed. It took a minute, but I turned the Titanic around in 2018 and 2019. Like I was telling Nina this morning, like I just finished a film this morning and I'm about to start another one. And Nina was like, oh, they were a good couple. And I was like, I'm so excited to edit every wedding that I have in my queue because I love all of our couples. And I don't everyone's uniquely different, but it's like I legitimately am so happy to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I want to say that as encouragement, not as like braggy, because you can get there, especially if you're putting yourself out there to attract the people you want to attract, repel the people you want to repel, and slowly raising those prices. You will get to a point where you're in this like really happy zone with your bookings and your work will then you'll get free to show people the kind of work that you really want to show. And then that attracts more of the same kind of people and around that goes.
Yeah, no, I love it. Love that stuff. We have one last question that just got in here from Jake McAnally. Sorry, Jake. Yeah. I think this is a good question to end it on. We've been talking a little bit over an hour. So he says, we are a husband and wife team. We book as many weddings as we can. We now have a daughter who's 7 months old. Congratulations. She takes up a good chunk of our money now. Yeah, kids do that. In the wintertime, when we start to get a little money hungry, what to do to get those last minute bookings? Looking for advice outside of saving money. Outside of saving money, we also divide up payments so we can constantly have money coming in, but winter is definitely a rougher patch for us till we get to March.
So is there a question? What do you do to get those last minute bookings? There's the question.
Yeah, like get some in there. I think a thing that everyone should be trying what they're doing, if you need some money, email all of your past brides from the last 2 or 3 years and say, hey, raw footage, I'm getting ready to clean out my hard drives, clean up storage space. Normally it's $500. I will send you a digital download link from Dropbox if you pay me $350. Something like that. And you sell, 5 or 10 of those and, you can get $3,500, just really quick. That would be number one thing if I needed money. So
a couple things, if I'm ever in that position, which thank God I am not very often in those positions anymore, although I recently was feeling like I was about to be close to being in that position. We talked about this in our Never Overdraft Your Account episode, and we also have our budget template inside the howtofilmweddings.com website, but I use our 12-month at-a-glance spreadsheet, the same one that's for sale in the shop, and I have my entire next 12 months just columned out looking forward. And so I can always see if a month is becoming short way further than it's actually getting there. Like, so I know, 5 months from now is really short. Well, if I book a wedding today, I'm going to make a payment due in that month or whatever. And so, I'm really toying around with the idea of just having a monthly payment, spreading it out into a monthly payment from the time they book until the time the wedding gets here. So it's just evenly distributed. But like having that, and then also during the months, the first line on our budget sheet for me is savings. And every month we're pushing more money into that savings account, and just having 2 to 3 months of business expenses in a savings account will literally change your life. It'll change your business. If we have $10,000 or $15,000 sitting in an account, we make a lot better decisions where it's like, yeah, we might take a last minute booking, but we're not going to do it for 2,000. We'll do it for 4,000 instead of 4,500 because we just want to book it or something like that. But like when you're low on cash, you're low, on oxygen for your business. And when you're running low on oxygen, you start making desperate decisions. And when you start making desperate decisions, you start really potentially harming yourself long term. And so I always tell people that they have to be thinking at least on a 3-month out window, at least, so they can see a storm coming. So if they need an umbrella, they can put up the umbrella. They can grab themselves an umbrella. They may not buy that drone that month. They may set aside $2,000 over here and say, I'm going to buy that drone once we get through this storm that I can see coming up. So that's what I do. And then, if I need to book something, if I get in a position where it's like, I've tried that, I don't have money coming in, I'm, it's tight, I've spent all my savings, whatever, I would go back to my leads that have contacted me, in my Honeybook or your CRM and say, okay, these people have contacted us, and I'm going to reach out via text message to these 6 people and just say, hey, I'm willing to do a solo shoot for you. Instead of $5,600, I can do a $3,500 solo shoot, maybe one shooter for 7 hours. Some of these people that I've had relationship with where they're just like, man, I really wish that we could book. But like in January, I booked a bride that had been booked us for photography and really wanted video, but just couldn't find it in the budget. And I messaged her, in November of last year and was like, here's the deal. I'll do your wedding for like $3,500. It's just me for 7 hours and a 4-minute film. But like, it's something, and I'm not booked. I'd rather have the work. I'd rather hook you up. And she booked it, and then ended up adding on like $900 worth of stuff. So those are the little things to me that I would do, Jake. And so there's a lot of other things, commercial work, things like that, but that staying in that lane. And Jake, if you don't already, check out that budget sheet. I think that'll really help. Yeah, definitely. So, man, we've been talking for like an hour and some change here. It's been a good little. Does everybody that's still listening? What do you drop a comment below? Let us know what you think while we're wrapping this up. We'd love to hear what you think. Continue to rap. Sorry.
Oh, continue to rap. Oh, Jake, the budget sheet is in our shop. So it's howtofilmweddings.com/shop. And then we have email templates, wedding day questionnaires, and then this budget sheet. And we have some more products that we'll be releasing in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Ooh. That sounded kind of weird how I just said that. Anyway. So thank you guys so much for joining in our live chat today. If you are actually in the live chat, if you're listening on iTunes or on podcast somewhere, thank you so much for checking it out. If you have the time, can you please review this podcast? Just on iTunes or on Google, whatever Google's thing is called, Stitcher, Spotify, whatever. If you review it, then that makes it more likely that other people will find it. And we want to continue to grow this channel. We want to continue to grow this podcast. So please share it with your friends. If you haven't, we've mentioned it several times. Join our Facebook group. Just search How to Film Weddings on Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where we upload these podcasts and other tutorials and other stuff. And on our website, howtofilmweddings.com. Check it out. It's a hub for everything. You can find it. John, do you have anything you want to add?
This kind of stuff's very fun for me. I want to thank all the people for asking questions. Send us a message on Instagram if you have any more questions. We'll try to do more. I was going to point out, too, the best way to grow your business, I think so, is mentorships. We've talked about them a lot. But Nick and I are doing mentorships if that's something that you're interested in. Both of us together talking with you specifically about your business. These are general answers, but an hour or two with somebody that's been there before could really help you. So if you want to do the mentorship thing, again, just check it out on our website. I know we're pitching lots of things at you guys, but we really feel like they're very helpful. So again, I'm not confident to sell you guys that. So it's kind of what we're preaching, Nick. Just saying. But other than that, man, I'm good. Why don't you just land that plane?
Okay, Jake is asking if we will do a staring contest real quick.
Yes, okay, I'll do it.
Wait, which camera are we staring into?
Phone.
Like the live camera or... Wait, whenever I've done these staring contests with my daughter, she says it's you blinked.
Okay, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that again. Dang it, Jake. If you screenshot that and post it on the Instawebs, I'll be happy with you. Well, this was fun, man.
That was ridiculous. So, yeah, it was super fun. Thanks again for everyone that was in the live Q&A and following along with us. Thank you so much to everyone that submitted questions. If we didn't get to you, I'm really sorry. We actually had a ton this week with all this stuff. John really likes to dance. He is showing his appreciation with all of his really cool dance moves. Anyways, again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you.